All right, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back once again to the North American closed qualifiers for ESL One New York 2017. We've got one slot up for grabs and 8 teams trying to vie for that slot, including Cloud9 and some others. And 2 of these teams are about to duke it out right now for a slot in the semifinals. It's going to be NRG Esports taking on Rise Nation. Our first map is going to be here on Nuke, and once again, I'm joined by Littleman, who is actually a former member of NRG. So, how do you peg this one? Looking right at it.
We never really played Nuke when I was on the team, so this should be interesting. I think Rise could take this map.
Well, we will have to see on that one as we're getting very quickly into the pistol round action. Breeze starts us off with a great shot against Moose right at the beginning. It's not going to stop Rise Nation from getting the quick swing to the inside, though, and also carrying that through over towards Hell now, as they're going to change up the game plan a little bit, working their way into Heaven, and possibly trying to go for a breach on the upper bomb site, where they think normally it's going to go lower in this situation. Great adaptment coming out from Rise, in addition to picking up most of the early kills, so they did lose Moose in a trade, but still, Breeze, once again, swinging back up from the other side here. He's able to get one for himself, as does Cirque. But then VSA and Dazzle trade those back. So at the end of the day, it is left down to Breeze to try and clutch for the energy side of things, and he can't do it. Dazzle will shut him down, and Rise pick up the pistol to start off this series.
I like that pistol by Rise. They all went ramp, and then they went back up the ladder. That was pretty cool. No one had armor, or no one had nades or anything. They all just had armor.
Yeah, so they were able to cause quite a bit of confusion in the energy camp there and make it pretty easy for themselves to close out on it. So they take early control here on the T side, which is great for them and great for Nuke in general, that they have the ability to push ahead there and get a nice early advantage going on T side. So they're just getting wrecked by the CTs right at the beginning, but the CTs are going to look to take them down anyway, as we have the big investments coming out from them, or at least as big as they can be on the second round after you've just lost the pistol. Upgraded pistols and armor sitting upon everybody except for Cirque, who just goes for the Deagle purchase on his own regard. That's all he's going to be bringing to the table. But for everybody else, they bring a little bit more. So hopefully they can upset against Rise here and pick up at least one round against them. But it starts off pretty slow, to be completely honest here. Rise not trying to push in, not trying to over-aggress at all. Just trying to take it nice and slowly so that they can weigh their aggression properly and knock these guys out one by one when they finally start pushing into the site in another 15 to 20 seconds or so, I'd say. Even going up towards the roof of the T lobby here now as well to try and deploy some nades out. See Jonji doing that, and he's going to go for the lineup. Cirque actually meeting a little bit of contention back over here on the outside area. Moose and Ace trying to push up into that position to take control here. Cirque, he's just going to get pushed back and end up going towards Heaven, actually, since they don't really have anyone present there. So he'll be taking up a spot up top here and trying to see if he could spot through. It looked like for a second there might have been a small hole in the smoke, but I don't actually think he could spot through. It did tag for 25 damage onto Ace. That's going to be it. Didn't really get much done besides that. So they do move through pretty much squeaky clean and are able to get themselves down into secret. Over in T lobby, though, Dazzle and Breeze will trade blows, with Dazzle going down, but Dazzle also taking out Daps in the process. So now Breeze is something that's trying to leap back down. Ace picking up one kill, the Molly bouncing off of Breeze's body, but he does indeed get the kill. Unfortunately, he hurls himself out of the vents afterwards. So Moose and Jonji are going to be able to both pick up kills against not only Breeze, but one additional player from the energy side. And Fugly, the last one alive, also goes down. So Rise will pick up that second round, going up 2-0 here.
Yeah, and in comparison, like, looking for Org when we watched them earlier on Nuke, they didn't really know the wall smokes, but Rise is already using the wall smokes in the second round, so that's good to see.
Yeah, already adapting into that one and having it train together, unlike what we saw from Elfborg and some of the other teams earlier on Nuke. So having themselves restrained a little bit better. And obviously this round being the full save from Energy, we expect this one to be a walkover. We should note, guys, by the way, that the CLG/Tempo Storm game is being played at the same exact time as this one. It is not being covered on this stream. It is being covered on some of our partner channels. I think like Moses is streaming it too. So if you guys just go overhead to the CSGO directory, I'm sure you can find someone that is currently streaming that game, as I think they just unleashed the IP for that one open to the world. So there should be plenty of other people covering that game. Or if it is open IP, then you can go ahead and go watch it yourself in-game itself. But on this round, like we said before, expecting Rise to walk over this one pretty handily and getting that nice, clean 3-0 start. The majority of Energy not buying anything at all, and then Breeze invested into one PT50. That is all they bring to the table this time. And already we see Cirque go down. So one player being knocked out. Just trying to eliminate the remaining 4 here. Now 3. As Moose gets 1 and 2, despite that low HP. He gets that second one in that position too. So he's going to end up with a nice 3K on the round. And now it's just A and J trying to stay in the fight here, but not a lot that he can do. Dinks Ace. That's going to be it though. Rise do close out and get that 3-0 start with no deaths on this round.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they can do on this gun round. We haven't seen Cirque play for NRG yet, so this is the first match with them. It'll be interesting to see how he fits in with the team.
Yeah, because I mean, Cirque kind of there was an interesting bit of news with Cirque, obviously, as the word at first was that he was going to go join Hiko's new team over on Rogue, but then apparently at the last second things got changed up, and he ended up going with NRG instead. The reasons for which I've heard multiple. So it's interesting now that ended up working out that way. But hey, he's found his place, so this is now him finally jumping into the roster and having his shot to push forward here. Of course, it's going to be a big test if we assume that NRG were to move forward here. They'd probably be the favorite in this set, but Rise has also been an up-and-coming team too, so it's not completely impossible for them to try and take the series, especially with Nuke getting the first map. As you can see, already getting that nice control, and on the first gun round, already getting the first kill against Fugly. So knocking him out. There's still getting some presence from Decon they're not really paying attention to. It's Cirque inside of here. Unfortunately, can't spot much to the smoke. And Dazzle also took down ANJ closer towards Hell. Cirque finally impacting there, but Moose swinging back in, takes down Breeze up top. So the CT is constantly being crunched upon is the other problem. Cirque finally gives up on this quest back over there in the vents to try and push back in and over towards Decon too. Both him and Daps are really just going to swing away, call for the save here as Rise just... It seems like it's too easy for them. They just walk right into the site, get that easy plant, and they're going to have a relatively easy round overall.
Yeah, one thing to note is Rise kept their Mac 10, so their money's going to be even more stacked going into this 5th round.
Yeah, now they've been able to trade them out for some M4s too. Dazzle and Ace both picking those up. So getting quite the upgrade off of that. And Cirque not going to be spotted in time. Dazzle did try to check for him, but it's not going to be able to wrap around towards Secret to get him. So that op does get saved. It's just trying to buy up anything behind that, with the exception of obviously with what Daps has too. It's going to be a little bit rough here, so NRG is at most going to be looking at like some half buys for those other 3 players. Before even getting tossed around to a couple different people too, before it finally goes back into Daps' hands. But at the start of the round itself, Rise pushing in. They still have Junji working with an MP9 too, so, or excuse me, MP7. But only playing at close quarters early on here, trying to push himself towards the ramp. Mainly watching out for aggression coming from the CTs, as both Fugly and ANJ are stacked together by the boxes in the ramp room, trying to watch in the event Rise go for a push in this direction. But not going to find it, at least not early on here. Jonji, now having fallen back, is going to group up with Dazzle and Lobby, only for a short amount of time, as quite a few of the Rise members, including Jonji in a second here, are going to be up on the rooftop, ready to deploy smokes or whatever need be into that upper bomb site. I believe that is the site they're going to try to go for here on this round. They have a setup, NRG this is now, they have a setup that actually should be pretty well suited to try and stop some of this action. But Cirque may need to rotate into the site pretty quickly. Thankfully, he's got a position right outside of Mini, so it's not too much trouble for him to do that, or even do what he's doing now, which is rotating over towards Heaven. Jonji gets that first entry and second kill as well against Breeze, but finally this flank comes in for the ramp room, and it gets the bomb on the ground too. They trade one of those players, but Fugly still holds on and picks up 2 additional frags, up to 3 kills now, and has brought this back down into a 2v2. Jonji goes in to get the bomb back. And it's a good thing Fugly didn't try to peek him, because Jonji's only down at 2 HP right now. So he made it out. Finally, they trade on the Fugly. And it's now the new guy, Cirque, trying to clutch in a 1v2 situation here. He missed below him, however. Jonji had snuck all the way up, so he completes the round with a 3K. And closes it out 5-0 here for Rise Nation so far.
Yeah, that was well executed by Rise on the upper hit. They had pretty much everything smoked off, everything molotoved off, and forced Daps out of Squeaky Vent.
Now here, going into the next round, we do have another big buy coming out from NRG. M4s across the board for everybody except for Cirque, who is able to go back to the op. Pretty decent utility for the CT side this time as well, so not going to be limited in that regard. Rise are going to have to probably wait down the timer a little bit more this time to fight off against those smokes. We can already see 2 of them being used on ANJ and Fugly. And then just 3 remaining for the other players on the team, along with still quite a few mollies and whatnot as well. So they've got quite a bit to stem the tide if Rise try to, especially if Rise try to go for something very straightforward. It's going to be very easy to block that out. But starting off here, Cirque gets a nice edge off there onto Ace, catches just his head peeking up from Twinkie, and is going to be able to clip him off, taking him out of the round. For the first time in a while, giving NRG the early round advantage here. Now they have to build upon it and make sure that there isn't a big push that's able to smite them and open up one of these 2 bomb sites. You can see Moose also taking a position on Twinkie too. He's looking for that trade against Cirque, but gets tagged through the Twinkie and through the wall. You can see the hole there itself now down to 22 HP. Gonna be a bit hesitant to re-peek that, but at the very least, Rise did get enough pressure here into the ramp room to force Fugly back down the steps. So
Janji stuck big garage here as well.
So he's managed to lurk his way around. He's looking for Cirque. He's inside of that alleyway right now, Cirque is, but he hasn't been able to find him. He thinks he might have fallen back. There we go. Just as the other opper from the T side is able to tag him too. He closes out on that kill. Junji struggling, but he gets the kill on Breeze also, which clears out Heaven for these other two players to push back up. This is very similar to what they did on Pistol Run, obviously just in a much more elongated fashion, but it works out okay. ANJ will get the kill coming outside of Secret against a Moose, but now they're able to hold potentially 3v3. Two of these guys have to try and work their way up the vents. Junji shouldn't be alive right now, but somehow is. Gets Dazzle to bail him out of a bad situation. Now can just barely edge out from the top rafters as he claims yet another kill against Fugly. VSA will pick up the last one on Daps, and it's another pretty straightforward round for Rise. 6-0 now.
Yeah, that lurk play by Janji was huge. I don't know how he got between 3 guys. That was really crazy.
Especially to knock out Cirque too, which was a huge pain for Rise on most of that round. He got that first kill. He almost got a second one too against, I believe it was Moose that tried to peek him up on top of Twinkie again, and he dropped him down to 22 HP. So if they didn't deal with him, that would have made the round a lot more painful to try and clutch back out. But taking him out seemed to alleviate things by quite a bit, and they pretty much walked through the rest of that engagement. Well, Breeze looks like he's going to try to get aggressive this time. We can see him inside a shed. Moose already knocking out Cirque. And trying to push up, getting quick control of Mini. There's no one else outside here except for Daps, and Daps is watching for pressure more so coming out on those upper rafters, make sure they don't get immediate Heaven control again. So he is going to be stuck back. The others, though, moving in. Fugly and Breeze picking up kills. VSA is able to trade out for not one, but 2 more before ANJ rolls in and takes out VSA. So it's left down to another 2v2. Both the CTs having, at least ANJ, I should say, having an upgrade.
Bruce is about to flank Daps as well.
As he lurks around here. Daps not paying attention to the Heaven play at all. So he did see him at the last second. It was still too late, though. Moose is able to walk right in, headshot him out. And now it leaves only ANJ alive. But look, ANJ is going to walk right up the steps, right up the ladder inside of Heaven here. Gets that kill against Moose, and now it's a 1v1. But ANJ's low. He's got to be careful, however. The missed shot from Ace, and that's enough for ANJ to peek back out. Getting a 3rd kill, clutching out the 1v2, and finally putting NRG on the board.
Seemed like Moose didn't react to the ladder sound. It's kind of delayed there. But either way, ANG closed out the round in the 1v2. It's well played by him.
And now with that, NRG has a chance to hopefully try and bring down this economy a little bit on Rise's side. Ace is already pretty much broken down at $50, but everybody else has at least one more full buy coming up after this round. So they're not going to be broken just yet, even if they fully wipe the entire team. They're still going to be in an okay position to buy for at least one more round before they would have to go and start saving. And that's unfortunate, as NRG are going to have to remain in the hot seat for a very long time here before they're going to get any sort of breathing room or any chances to really get a few free rounds up there against some eco rounds. But it's another slow start from Rise, keeping their players kind of spread across the map here. Quite a few up on top of the roof, able to pop some smokes in towards the upper site. And others trying to group up here so they can eventually move through outside to get a little bit of control here too. And we can see the Molly going down to Secret, just trying to nade back anybody that may be positioned here. ANJ is inside of Secret, but he's not in the usual spot down the steps where someone would usually be waiting in a kind of headshot spot to try and quickly take people down when they peek. He's actually up on top of the steps in the little side part of this room here. He's eventually going to swing back out as the rest of Rise do try to push back in, but NRG for the most part are putting this down. That's going to change quickly though, as Jonji, VSA, and Moose all pick up quick kills, leaving only Cirque alive to try and clutch a 1v3. And he can't spot much. He's got to be careful on that peek, but okay, walks into 1 for free against Moose there. Almost able to try and go for a second here against VSA. Just quickly trying to check for some of these positions, but VSA stuck behind one of the boilers here now. Trying to wrap around to find Cirque. They catch him just as he was looking to jump back down. And VSA once again closing out on an upper round there. Resetting the losing bonus for NRG and probably putting them onto a pretty quick save here.
Yeah, Rise did the fake wall smokes outer, and ANG was in Secret, so he confirmed that it wasn't outer. So NRG should have been like really prepared for the inner hit, but just didn't go their way, I guess.
Yeah. So now let's put NRG back down. They do actually decide to force it since their money was in such a bad spot that they decided to just go for it now. Since I believe they would have to save the next round anyway, they still wouldn't have had enough. So that's why they do decide to go for that usual force here. Cirque gets the op at the very least though because of the excess money that he had built up. He'd been staying alive for quite a long time. So he was able to have the extra money at the very least to get a drop from ANJ. And he traded out onto the CZ while still having armor and everything. So they have that built up at least. But now they have be able to use this op effectively, combined with those other pistols to try and get some kills. We've already seen them trading quite well on these ecos previously when they just had upgraded pistols, but winning the round outright has yet to happen. There's the first trade there. Breezy moves in and gets a second. One waiting in the corner. They spot the rifle, and Jonesy tried to be patient, tried to wait that out. Didn't work. So NRG actually doing a great job of just crunching this situation. Moose and Ace did get free outside control and were able to wrap into heaven, but now this is a comeback attempt as they're down 2v4. Thankfully, Moose walks in. Somehow they never really expect this for whatever reason on the NRG side. Moose walks into heaven and once again just gets a nice free kill on a Breeze, as now they have to look for the remaining 3 players on this side. They do manage to get upper sight relatively clean, but they also don't have the bomb. That's sitting back in, I think, right outside of lobby, actually, is where it's positioned currently. So Daps will be waiting here. If the door swings open, he's going to be hidden behind it. I do expect him. Moose, he's going to be able to catch that kill. Fugly will have to swing over here pretty quickly into lobby to try and look for the trade. He's got one player low and just barely catches Ace right before he goes behind the wall. So now it's left alone to Moose. They've got him pinched too, so finally when he pushes back in the lobby there, it's A&J to close out and NRG to pick up a second round on a forced attempt, emptying out their bank.
Yeah, NRG's success has been on the lobby crunches, and Rise just doesn't know how to answer back to those crunches.
They've been able to contain them in a couple previous rounds, but that one just got entirely out of hand. And so now it's thrown things into chaos as NRG continue to trade rounds with Rise. It's been 4 rounds now since we've had one team winning more than 2 rounds straight. And Dazzle will be sitting back this time, making sure they don't get pushed from the ramp. However, there's still plenty of players who could try to push towards that. Fugly is waiting, but it doesn't look like he's going to try to get aggressive this time. Doesn't have any additional support. He's all by himself, and he's sitting back in a position, much more standard position, I should say, here now. So don't believe we'll be seeing any aggressive push to him. Probably going to be sitting back and waiting in the event. Rise do try to go for a straightforward ramp play, but they've been avoiding that for pretty much the entire half so far. And they get this nice little U-smoke outside to get control here. There's 3 players from the CT side on the other edge of that smoke, so they've got to be careful, as this is exactly what can happen. Cirque finding not 1, but 2, and he can peek out and get a 3rd. Not going to happen, though. Now it's VSA's turn to bring it back, as he trades these kills in. Still 1 more waiting for them, and that's going to be A&J, who puts down VSA and the bomb onto the ground. Dazzle having better luck on the inner sight, but look at this from Fugly. He hasn't been detected yet. Right outside of heaven, he finds 1 more. It's all down to Moose now in a 1v2 to try and keep Rise in control of the lead, as otherwise his team might find themselves broken, and NRG would be getting back into this match. And that's exactly what's going to happen now, as A&J shuts down Moose, picking up the 3rd round for NRG.
Yeah, A&J seems to love that position where he just sits in secret, makes sure that they're not there, and then he just quick flanks. Gets a lot of info, makes sure they're not down secret, and helps win the round for NRG. Putting Rise on a save, it looks like. Tech 9 armor.
Rise is going to continue to push the envelope, however, as they do just go for the half-buy here, and they're going to keep the pace nice and quick. Dazzle already through the vents, down into the lower halls here. The rest of his team did stay behind inside of the T lobby, so they're not going to be trying to make any sort of pushes just yet. The real question here is, what is Dazzle going to do with his position inside of Secret? So he has a lot that he could try to work with, but unfortunately, since it's very obvious that he went down there, he has to be very careful about the way he treads around the map, so he could be detected at any moment. Taken down with relative ease. You can already see players like A&J just looking out for him, as he's got a position right at the bottom of ramp. And in a moment, depending on where Dazzle goes, he might just spot A&J and knock him out outright. But elsewhere on the map, Fugly, Moose trading out a couple kills as they do have to try and take ramp control. A&J tries to hold, but he can't get that spray under his control. He goes down. Finally, VSA. This is now to Cirque. And Daps wrapping in, catches Moose with an 8 out, and Daps is just trying to take him down at long range with the Mag 7. Manages to get that kill. So down will go Moose, and ultimately it's left to Dazzle. 1v3. There's 40 seconds remaining on the clock. He still only has that Tech 9. And the bomb is down inside of the ramp room. So essentially having to somehow retake control of the ramp room with just a Tech 9 armor buy and no additional utility. Cirque, I think, just spotted him, dinked him, although he returned some damage pretty well into Cirque. So Cirque's going to dive away behind one of the boxes where he's a little bit safer. And now peeking out is where he finally meets his match to Daps. And NRG get that 4th round going.
Yeah, Dazzle could have flanked them there, I feel like, but I don't know if they wanted to not wait for him or...
Well, it's going to be, again, NRG on the comeback path here, but with Rise going for that earlier save, They did buy them the time they needed to now go right back into this round with a full buy, including the op with utility and everything else. So Rise, certainly not something to be underestimating just yet here with these 7 rounds. Still trying to look for quite a few more. They are struggling now a little bit on the CT side with NRG picking up the last 3 straight.
Cirque's got an aggro at ramp here.
Trying to peek back out, but a flash from the T side completely destroys him. Fugly in a better position, though, is able to trade that back against Dazzle, so keeps it even in a 4v4. As the rest of the team up on top, well, a moment ago was looking like they were getting ready to set up for smokes and whatnot to go for an upper hit, but not the case anymore, especially not with AMJ knocking out Moose, as he tried to peek from Twinkie, I think, towards outside there, so able to find that kill. Breeze is aggressively positioned inside of the shed, catches him too, and Daps just has a position on top of the shed, finds one. I don't even know if Jonesy realized fully where that was happening from, but he'll get one more kill before going down to Breezy and securing a 5th round for NRG.
Yeah, and Energy's on 4 straight now, so they're starting to grind a lot of rounds together. But 7 rounds on T side, that might be enough for City side Nuke to close it out.
Yeah, that's the big worry that NRG has to worry about here now, is if Rise really comes back alive again at the start of the CT-sided half. As Rise got a big momentum swing, and despite only winning 1 round in the last out of the last 5 here, they're still in a great position, even if they continue to lose and end up going down 7-8. That's the way they started this. On the half buy, they do just try to force their way through outside. Unfortunately, already losing 1 player. They trade some damage back, actually, and get a kill into another. Daps taking down VSA, though, and now Fugly moving to the outside, finding quite a few targets that he could just peck at, and there you go. Double kill for him, leaving only Dazzle alive, but it's just a 1v2, so it is potentially winnable. As you can see, he tries to find Fugly, misjudges where he was headed, though, and with that, just finds himself out in the open against Fugly, as he'll close out and put NRG within just 1 round of a tie. Buy overall from both teams is going to be pretty much even here, too. No op purchase coming in from Rise, as weren't able to afford that, but Cirque is going to be on the op. So he still has that firepower working for him. And he's been pretty good with it so far. My entire team on NRG's been showing up here so far with Daps lagging behind just a tad, but everyone else having their moments in this matchup here. And it's currently Fugly leading the way at 13-9. With Breeze and Cirque holding their own a little bit lower at 9 and 8 kills respectively as they kind of come back into this match. And they're just
and Jay's pushed up underneath the silo, and then Cirque's opping Secret. This is a good setup.
And overall, this has been one of the key areas that Rise has struggled to really get control of. I don't think, with maybe 1 or 2 rounds as an exception, they've been able to ever really get clean control of outside here. Cirque's going to get mispositioned, though, in suit of the molly, so he has to go back up on top of the steps and change his position. AJ not really affected by those smokes, but he's not really going to remain quiet. Just jumps right back down from that upper spot and starts to push around. Thankfully for him, I don't think anyone actually heard him when he pushed around here. So moves in, takes down Ace. Jonji, however, swinging back out, takes out a quick Breeze, and oh, a nice flick onto Daps as well to save his own life. So goodbye to Daps, and goodbye to any control the CTs were holding back in that A bomb site. Very quickly does it fall to Rise, and now players like ANJ are trying to squeak their way back in through lobby and whatnot, since they still have the bomb way up on top of the roof, but they're able to just knock out CTs 1 by 1 by 1, leaving only Fugly alive in this situation. It's a 1v4, basically impossible for Fugly, but the bomb only just now going onto the site to get planted. Tries to pick it off on the way across there so he can drop the bomb onto the ground and waste a little bit more time, but doesn't happen. So now he's going to have to try and change up his own position. He's going to get pushed on in a second here by players from outside and players from the site. They're just hunting him down, basically, but he's outwitting them, finding 1, finding 2. He's down to 6 HP here now, but he set himself up, and now is when Rise is going to back up and try to take this a little bit more slowly, because this is when he's going to push back in, try to retake, finds 1 more for free, and Dazzle caught looking the complete wrong direction. I believe trying to raid into him coming from heaven. Thankfully, didn't expect VSA to be back over by ramp, so he still closes out, but that run ends up being a lot more expensive than Rise necessarily wanted to. But we're going into the last round of the half anyway, so it's not going to matter too much, as I believe they are able to get everybody AKs.
Yeah, but NRG had like 5 in a row, and look at their money. They could barely get like a good buy going here, so that just shows how close the rounds are. Rise will be looking to get this last round and get 9 for the T side.
So Rise take it nice and slowly here. Unfortunately, that pace may come back to haunt them as both ANJ and Cirque have been able to get opening kills, with Rise trying to just hold in these positions that are right behind where the CTs would normally be able to spot them from. So NRG is getting a tad aggressive there, and they're able to do massive impact. Moose trading onto one, Ace catching another, as NRG seemed to get a little bit too hungry for those kills potentially. And now it's cost them as they're back down into an even 3v3. Daps needs to come alive here. He's going to be the big point man. Him and Cirque, as two more from Rise, are getting ready to push into the lobby to start a play. I believe to lurk towards upper again, but it really could go either way at this point. There's no definitive sight just yet. They've been avoiding B for some reason. They really haven't been too big of fans of going towards it, so might see that one as well. Daps peeking out, though. He unfortunately gets impatient. That's where Ace is going to shut him down, now leaving just Fugly and Cirque alive. And the main player looking to try and stop Rise from getting map control here is going to be Cirque. If he goes down, I don't see Fugly clutching out the 1v3. It's certainly possible, but he's kind of out of position.
Moose is in a good spot to flank Cirque as well. I think that's what they're waiting on. Moose is flanking.
He's pushed back up, but time is now gone. And Cirque, well, he will go down in a 1-for-1 trade. Cirque catching VSA, but then right after that one, Moose taking down Cirque, so it leaves just Fugly alive to 1v2. Fugly can do this, though, in the 1v2 situation. He's going to get ready to push back out, catches the bomb planter before the bomb even really touches the ground there. And now Moose is going to try to accomplish the same thing, does not have enough time to waste. Fugly thinking actually that one was a fake, so he does let him plant it. And now Moose knows exactly where he's coming from, or at least where he peeked from before. Fugly's sticking to that position, so taking a bit of a risk in doing that, but Moose moving away. This is Fugly's time to move out. Does the timing work out? And no, it doesn't for Moose. Fugly catches Moose looking in the wrong direction, and with that, is going to be able to clutch out the 1v2 and pick up the 7th for NRG, making this as close as possible at the end of the half.
Yeah, that was good patience by Fugly. If you just sit there and don't make any noise, Moose starts second-guessing himself, and that's what happened.
So at the end of the day here, Rise Nation had a great start to the half. Unfortunately, fell behind pretty quickly as we got towards the mid-rounds there. And that's where NRG had a nice, I believe, like 4 or 5 round streak. Managed to chain together 2 more, including that last one towards the end of it. But Rise still took control with 8 rounds on their T side of Nuke. And now we have to see if NRG can pull off the same feat. Make it 9 if they want to actually close out on this map. Or if it's going to be Rise to continue their domination that we were seeing towards the beginning of this map and try to close out, taking their own map pick to start off this series in a 1-0 fashion.
Yeah, I'm curious if NRG has any smokes. We didn't even play the map when I was on the team, so they might have the smokes down now. I'm not too sure, but it'll be interesting to see.
Well, we're going live into it, so let's take a look and see what exactly NRG has planned for this T side. To start it off, the buys, again, nothing really too far out of what we're used to seeing here. No utility purchased at all for NRG. They all buy armor, and there's like 1 decoy picked up, which already got tossed out there. So Rise themselves buying a little bit better, but Rise trying to guess exactly where NRG are going. It looks like they made the right call, actually. 3 players inside a ramp are going to try to counter out this push. There's 1, 2 from Moose. He's trying to go for a 3rd, but he's out of ammo. And now the trades roll in, but it's still in the favor of Rise. Jonji and Dazzle both picking up kills. Leaves only Fugly to try and 1v3 clutch this with a Glock. That's not going to be the best weapon to work with. Dazzle gets into position using Jonji as cover and is able to one-tap Fugly from the backside, closing out on the pistol for Rise. They're 2 for 2 on this map for pistols.
I expect a force out of them here. Yeah. Looks like they're just going to work picks. Got a couple deagles, a scout.
Yeah, not a whole lot, unfortunately, that you can do in that second round that I was talking about before. It's going to be the deagle pickups, and oh, Breeze just off the mark to try and edge out a headshot against Ace early on here. Still, we're going to see Cirque and their others pushing together, though, trying to move up, and Cirque instantly knocking out VSA. Almost didn't spot him, too. Second-guessed himself a tad there, so that could have been detrimental. But now Ace trying to hold outside here. Excuse me. Dazzle helping out Ace a little bit as well as he goes for that double kill and is able to pick it up. So just Daps, Fugly, ANJ. Fugly with a nice response. Would have led to his own death if he didn't take that shot quicker. Taking down Moose. Now leaves just Ace, Dazzle, and Jonji alive on that CT side. And I mean, Dazzle and Ace are both pretty heavily injured, too. It's really only Jonji at full HP, as he's trying to work on a very slow flank, which could work out okay. But I'm not sure if he's actually going to push into old radio just yet. He might still be sticking around. And he actually falls back because he needs to support his teammates a little bit better. Ace and Dazzle really can't afford to peek out right now. Dazzle's just resigned to the site. Ace is kind of surrounded once he falls back in towards Hell. But even that's going to give up free outside control and kind of make this, make Rise blind, as they aren't really going to be able to tell where NRG are pushing the rest of their players towards. But no one, neither team really wanting to seem to make the first move here. So NRG obviously is going to have their hand forced as the time works against them at the end of the day. So they need to push forward. They need to get into this site and go for the plant. And they finally do succeed in putting it onto the ground. They go downstairs for it here and are able to sneak ANJ over to get that plant. So he's able to successfully do it. John G now working his way back in. But NRG, for the most part, have closed themselves off. They're not trying to give a whole lot away. ANJ pushing in, puts himself into the cover here. Knows he's got an opponent right around the corner on the outside. Tries to take him out, but misjudges the timing on the repeat here. And Dazzle, oh, Dazzle stayed up there. That could have been great to just knock out the last two players. Heard the door open, trying to spray into it here, and also trying to go for the defuse, but he's been tagged down to 11 HP. He's trying to go for the ninja anyway. They can't seem to hit him, and he just ninjas it inside of the smoke. Fugly grabbing one additional kill, and the trade's kind of going off as the round ends, but ultimately the round still falls to Rise as they take it 2-0 at the start of this half.
Yeah, what a round. ANG snuck the bomb down the vent and got the bomb plant for them. And Fugly, I feel like, could have got the diffuser. He just had a deagle as a secondary weapon, so it was hard to spam his pistol and get the diffuser. And he just backed off and saved his gun.
Well, for NRG here now, Breeze is just going to get tagged right at the start, down to 30 HP. The rest of the team still trying to push forward, but Ace knocking down another one here now. They still want to look for that outside control. It's only just now that I'm starting to see more players from NRG kind of fall back a bit more and away from this situation, as Ace is doing damage even with the nades, and the USP making work with a little there, as NRG are pushing on him with AKs, Galils. And still, it's not enough to knock out Ace. He's gotten both of these kills so far. And he's looking for a third in a second. There you go. Breeze now getting knocked out by him. They just cannot take down that scout. And Moose and VSA also on top of the shed there, too. They haven't seen anyone from the T side sneaking in just yet. But ANJ is going to try to lurk over here towards the ramp room, where Jonji still has a good position to stop him from making any progress at all. And Fugly facing a similar foe. It's Ace back on the other side that's still alive, still kicking, and still looking to try and pick up another kill. But finally he falls to Fugly, as he's going to be able to find that frag. But there's another one that's going to be challenging him, and that's Dazzle from a little bit further back. Fugly got enough room, though, to be able to sneak in through Mini, but as soon as he pushes in, VSA finds him, and he not only takes down Fugly, but he takes out ANJ too, closing out of the round for Rise and putting them just 5 away now from taking control of this first map.
It looks like NRG is just going to go for a half buy here and then buy the next round, because they're going to be on a 4-loss bonus if they don't win this round. So then they'll have more than enough money to buy. Seems like they don't know any smokes though. They haven't thrown anything, so.
No. So NRG still trying to push themselves directly towards outside and then wrap in towards Mini, I think. Ace did not realize how quickly they got control of outside that time, so it's not going to be able to go on a massive streak like before. And now Rise is going to be surrounded a little bit here on the upper bomb site. They need to be careful. They need to make sure that NRG don't get that good heaven control and are able to push in, and that would be the kicker to knock out Rise. Dazzle does spot the Fugly push inside of Mini, but he's a little bit late to actually get any damage done there. His position's been revealed, so he's going to have to be careful, as he might be one of the first targets when we do see NRG start to push into this site in a few seconds here. Time still ticking down a little bit, as NRG need to continue to try and push forward. Finally, they find the initiation rights, and that's against Dazzle. But the problem is, it seemed like it was a bit of a false flag, because besides that, they just get completely ripped to shreds. Cirque is the last one to go down, but VSA and Moose dominate the platforms and are able to hold control of the site, giving Rise a 12th round.
Round looked promising if Moose went down top ladder, but he managed to get the kills and make it work.
And so with that said, NRG really going to be put onto some of their last legs pretty quickly here at 12-7. They still have a few opportunities to get back into the match. But they're gonna
Here's the smokes.
Yeah. Finally, some getting tossed out there for outside. So In they go. There's the wall. How well is it set up? Oh, looks pretty well, actually. But Daps is going to completely disregard the smoke and just peek out anyway, hoping to find someone inside of the warehouse. No one to be seen there. Breeze is actually the only player taking that walk. The others are still stuck either behind Twinkie, choosing to stay here and kind of wait the timer down a little bit, or they're inside of like lobby or something like that. So it's a hesitant amount of outside control for NRG, but they do indeed get that outside control. And players like VSA and whatnot are still just kind of waiting over here on that on the upper site to make sure that NRG doesn't try to crunch on it again. That seems to be their favorite strat so far, to try and go for outside and then crunch towards upper, but we'll have to see how successful that is, as they've really only had 1 or 2 gun rounds to test it now. And at the moment, they're not getting a whole lot of success with actually finding that opening kill. We can see Jonji as well, seeing Breeze now sneaking through the secret entrance. And Jonji just trying to look through that smoke to see if he can actually spot the push from the remaining Ts. Not really going to be able to see a whole lot, though. And as NRG, again, they're remaining pretty much immobile here, not really wanting to push back in. Finally, the time's getting low, so they really have no choice. They're going to finally execute onto the A-bomb site. He sees Dazzle there, but he can't hit the headshot. That's so unfortunate. Dazzle, thankfully, gets traded out pretty quickly by Cirque, and ANJ walks in. This is exactly what Rise needed to avoid, and that's ANJ just walking into heaven, getting free kills on players like VSA or stuck in exposed positions. So it's left to a 3v4 now, as NRG is going to walk in and get control over the site. Ace is trying to walk around here too, but Andy is going to be waiting for him right up top, and yeah, makes quick work of a slow pushing Ace, so he goes down. Jonji and Moose, the last 2 alive, and Jonji knows he can't retake this, so does Moose. Both are looking to go outside here now, save their guns for the next round, and let NRG get their first round on the board here on this T side.
Yeah, that was good lurk play by NRG. You got top ladder, got a free kill, open up upper for this team.
And so with that here, like I said, NRG finding their way onto the board. It actually leaves Rise in a pretty iffy spot economically speaking too. Moose is going to have the capability to drop, and so will Jonji, as I don't believe any of them are really going to be having the capability to go down at the rest of this round. So they should be able to drop. I mean, Moose can potentially drop for 2 players, and VSA can just buy on his own. So that's going to be enough right there to be able to afford them at least 1 more buy. But after that, they do get broken pretty quickly, despite the 4-round streak there. They didn't build up a whole lot of excesses. They were still losing a pretty consistent 2 to 3 players for the most part throughout most of these rounds. And it's now NRG's chance to really fight back here and run a bit of a streak of their own to get back into this map, as otherwise they're still going to find difficulty here on this T side. Still very hesitant on these early kills in order to gain momentum and continue to push forward. The CTs early to throw out their own mollies and whatnot to prevent any kind of a rush, quickly get themselves down through the vents, but NRG's not looking for anything like that at all. For the most part, they're sticking outside and trying to push in that route to get quickly down through Secret, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Breeze gets the opening kill, taking down Moose. Fugly still waits at old, that old radio room here, and is going to be trying to see if he can also catch any of the CTs that may push out in this direction to try and flank against him. Right now, I'm not finding much. Ace just stuck behind the box. He's not going to get too aggressive. And the rest of Rise also just patiently waiting. The only one they moved downstairs so far has been Junji. And NRG has already faked downstairs once, so it's not going to be too surprising if they do it again. However, this time it looks like it's going to be for real, as they do try to push in this direction. Cirque picking up a 2nd kill here now. He's knocked out Dazzle. So early on here, it's Rise getting a pretty hefty advantage, and there's no attempts at any responses for them so far until we finally see them starting to push into the B-bomb site, where Jonji picks up a kill, but then quickly falls back into the vents, and that's really only that one lurker over there. The rest of the team still has yet to even start a push towards the ramp itself. Ace looking for Fugly, but finally more are going to start to try and move back in. Jonji actually waiting in the vents, timing this perfectly to go back up. He almost caught Fugly too, and looking for a second, Fugly might have repeaked it, but he cancels that at the last second. At the very least, this is acting as a distraction, though, to let Ace try and go back up into heaven, but he's not biting on it, doesn't want to try and take the risks, so he's wrapping around in the other direction towards Mini. Jonji's got to be very careful of a push from the opposite direction, as there you go. Daps is going to swing right up on top, taking down Jonji. Now just leaving Ace alone, and he's going to call this off. He's going to go back for the save. That'll be the only big gun, really, unless Moose forces that they'd have going into the next round. So they do need to look to the future. And considering that, Ace falls back to save, giving NRG their 9th round.
Yeah, NRG was looking prepped on this map. They got a good lurk play by Breeze going down Seeker, getting that kill on Moose. While he gets that kill, causes the rotate, and ANG just walks heaven again.
Ace trying to stay in that corner too and not give himself away until the very last moment. Picks up 1 additional kill, so forces a rebuy down on the Fugly there. But very small sentiment to what was otherwise a very big lost cause for Rise. And it does look like Rise will decide to save behind that saved op from the previous round. So Ace will have that, but they're not going to have a whole lot else. Just CZs, a P250 on VSA, and only 3 out of 5 players having armor. Ace is not even being purchased from this round. So I'm just counting from the last round there. NRG hopefully is going to have a little bit of an easier time just getting their foot on the ground early on and getting themselves out into the open, as they seem very, very hesitant, very, very scared of what Rise has to offer if they just go directly into these plays. So they're focusing on outside a lot, where they've been able to get pretty much free control. Rise isn't really resisting the outside control at all, and that's starting to become a big problem for them as it's opening up all these flanks, allowing free secret control to happen, and causing quite a few of the CTs to have to split off from the main sites themselves, like VSA is doing right now. Whereas if they just had an operator waiting for this one and checking more directly for it in the garage, then they'd be able to avoid that. Again, they lose their first initial player. Jonji goes down to Fugly, and now Ace having to wrap back in. Perfect flashbang followed up to, and finally repeaks, but right into his death as Fugly's going to knock him out. And that's pretty much the round over already. Dazzle, VSA, and Moose really do not have the firepower to continue this fight. They still do have 2 players downstairs in Decon, but the smoke boxing them out is going to make it very, very difficult for them to continue having any sort of presence here, especially with just the CZs and P250s. They're really just trying to defend themselves. Breeze even pushing out that other hallway to try and wrap over here. So they're completely surrounded. There is no escape. VSA and Moose have to fight. And for Dazzle, he's looking at exits at this point. He's way up on top at the old radio hall, waiting for anyone to exit through this route that he can maybe kill and take a gun from.
Naps is the only one by the bomb right now, though.
I don't think Rise realizes that was the problem. They're too focused on exiting. So Moose, you can see, has gotten up through the vents, and in a second here, I believe VSA is going to... Actually, no, VSA just goes out through secret. So they split everybody up, but had they realized that, that could have been a nice little sneak play from Rise, but didn't decide to go for it. Focused on getting out of the sight, and you can see there too at the end of it. Dazzle trying to go for the kill on Fugly, but Fugly holds his own. So NRG now, which isn't within just 2 rounds of a tie, but we are coming up on another bye round for Rise.
Yeah, I'd like to see Rise do something outer, like kind of what ANJ and Cirque did, whereas like one pushes Catwalk into the silo, one goes secret with an op or something like that.
Once again, another very even buy from Rise. 5 M4s. A decent utility, but VSA and the others are going to be tested early on here as they get a big push from outside. This time, NRG doesn't wait at all. They just go directly for the play. They don't try to sneak it into secret or anything of that nature. Everyone just pushes gung-ho onto the outside area and tries to wrap around quickly, and it's Fugly doing a lot of the damage. Moose trying to hide in the smoke, but he's not hiding very well. He's down at 8 HP. They know he's there. They just haven't killed him yet. It's just about finding him here. Backs into the corner. Holds his own, though, against Fugly, as that aircon saves his life, blocking any other retaliation so far. Finally, they're jumping out. Cirque that grabs him and leaves us down to Dazzle now to try and attempt to pull off a 1v2 clutch, which could still go either way. So Dazzle also has to try and read into where this is potentially going to be going to. They could just go up to Heaven and challenge Dazzle directly, or they could swing, obviously, down over here towards the ramp side. So I think that's what Dazzle's going to do. He's going to head on towards ramp, because not only can he get the position over here if he pushes in this direction, but he can also potentially go up towards Heaven. And yeah, now he's blocked their path. So this is going to be interesting to see how NRG attempts to make this work for them. As Dazzle's going to push back out. No, I didn't even expect to find Daps right there, though, which, to be honest, is not necessarily something you should have expected. So NRG do just patiently wait out for this player to push him, catching him out, and get their 11th round.
Yeah, and that's 4 straight for NRG, so Rise is on the 4 loss bonus. We're going to go with the half buy and then get a full buy on the 25th round.
But NRG, well, now again going for outside control, and obviously this time with Rise having the buy that they have, they're not really going to be in a great position to contest any of this directly on outside, so they just give up complete control of that one. They're trying to play to these close-up spots on inside. They are going to try to push on lobby. Moose actually sneaks in the kill there as they pinch it, but the problem is they only get that 1 kill. The bomb does escape. As they kind of panic and run back, Cirque is going to be the one to pick that up. Dazzle quickly jumping back down into the vents here too, so he's got a position downstairs, but he's alone, and he doesn't really have the solo capability to stop this. He's going to need support from his other teammates, and that's exactly what he's going to get. However, NRG, again, correctly reading into the situation, just goes right up towards the upper site and finds it wide open for the taking. So they're going to get a free plant here And now all they have to really worry about is some of these cheeky positions that Rise may try to sneak back in from, but I don't even think they're going to attempt it with this kind of gunpowder. More than likely, we'll just sit at exit points and look for those exits. And for Moose, he's going to be looking to save here. VSA trying to bait ANJ into peeking. I don't think it's working, though. VSA is going to have to go up that ladder if he wants to take the duel versus ANJ. So it looks like he's going to be taking an exit here in a second, or just waiting inside of that locker room. Maybe he'll get ANJ jumping down in a few moments, but at the moment, not happening. Moose, though, catches at least one. That, again, like I said before, though, consistently is... Sorry, lost my train of thought. Like I was saying before, though, unfortunately, with that kind of gunpowder, they're really not going to have the ability to retake that. So Moose is left as the last man standing, and with that 50 HP, it's better for him to just kind of fall back, go upstairs, and save that AK so they can at least save some money going into the next round. He's got 9,300, actually, so that could be a pretty big drop. He could drop.
Yeah, he's been stacking on the money. He's playing really well. It looks like he did drop that. 12 all.
Indeed. And this is the big turning point for NRG here now. They can take control. They've been running this straight streak ever since the first 4 rounds went to Rise. We haven't seen any more since then. Moose trying to push out this time than that. They finally got the gunpowder going back in their favor. Right into the fight. Trying to hide behind the smoke too, but jumping up on top. Unfortunately, he's only able to get one. It's a nice quick reaction from Cirque. And the info going back out. Ace trying to flick it. Only hits him through the wall, though, and Cirque returns the damage in the same fashion. You can see the 2 holes right there. Both those op shots being returned. Cirque gets impatient, pushes out against Ace, and loses his life as a result of that one. Dazzle, VSA picking up kills. ANJ now the last man standing here for the side of NRG, and he's not going to last very long. Dazzle shuts him down. Rise take the lead again, and it's 13-12.
And since NRG won so many in a row, their money's just stacked, so they don't have to worry about money here. And on their Rise side, they kept 3 alive, so it's good. Looks like fast smokes out here, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to take it as quickly as they did in the last round, though, because that's where they lost most of the control, was when Rise got aggressive out there and pushed on them. We can see examples of that again with Moose. They just try to push outside here again. And, oh, they just continue to push it too. Cirque giving himself away. Now Daps just goes right up on top of the Twinkie, gives himself to Ace. So, I mean, the bait and switch is using Moose as the bait. Apparently worked beautifully.
Yeah, good adjustment by Rise. Like I said, I wanted them to get aggro, and they're getting aggro, and it's working for them.
So with 3 kills already in their favor, there's really not much that Rise have to do. They can just sit back in their spots and wait to see what NRG is going to do now, as their 2 players, Fugly and ANJ, are going to have to try and make some miracles happen. Grouping together, and I mean, AJ already getting tagged, so he's probably a little mad about that. There's literally nowhere safe for them to peek right now. Even lobby potentially could have been taken over at this point, so they have to be wary of that too if they decide to go back in. Now, obviously, no one from the CT side is in lobby right now, but the possibility that it's there is looming for NRG, so they're going to have to be a little bit more careful about that. So they do sneak in. And I'll take this on both routes. You can see they're checking everything, because they don't know what the CT's pushed in to take control of. With players like Moose pushing forward, it's a very high possibility that someone from Ramp might have also tried to make a push too. But didn't happen, thankfully for these 2 players on NRG. So they are given back free control of the lobby. One will go up on top just to try and molly out the top of Shed so they don't get immediately wrecked upon going into this site. But ANJ lurking around. He catches Junji, who actually was the one to get aggressive and push out into Old Radio. VSA sitting in the corner, though, lines him up and gets the double kill to close out on the round for Rise, only losing Junji along the way. Great for a quick buildup of that CT economy. Only 2 rounds won, but Ace is $10,000, and he doesn't need to buy anything else. So this is terrible for NRG. They were looking like they were going to be in a great position to make a comeback, but then it all just tumbles down so quickly.
They got 1 more clean buy, though, and then it's going to be economy break for NRG.
And NRG now trying again. Looks like they're just going to be going for a pretty straightforward play over here towards the A site. We'll see in a second if they actually commit to it. They still need to break the windows and everything so they can get the nades up on top. And Breeze will need to fall back from his mid spot too. However, that looks to be the plan. I don't see them splitting off. They have no outside control at all. And Rai should know this since Ace pretty much has a clean outside. They didn't even try to fake smoke it or anything like that. There's nothing to be seen here. So they should be able to call for a full rotate over towards A. The defense in A is currently a 3-man setup, so they do need to move the 2 more inside. But they have great positioning so far in this half, and we can see examples of that again. The smoke's blocking out most of this action. Moose already picked up 1 kill. Molly's going to burn some of these guys out. Moose just going off. Finally goes down. It's actually VSA that gets nothing done. Dazzle's lost too here. Dap's trying to hold on as he's the last man standing, but he can't stay alive. And Rise win it out again with 2 men alive. 15-12 is how this scoreline's going to move, and now NRG have to force into it and see if they can take this to OT by winning the next 3 rounds.
Moose is playing lights out. That was another 3K for Moose from Mustang.
31-18 from Moose so far, with the next highest teammate being 21-15. So 31 frags just in regulation alone. Great stuff from him, and I think this was what most people were saying it was the highlight player, although speaking of highlights, that's a highlight shot right there from Cirque. Nicely found. Fugly and Breezy also picking up some more kills, and Fugly adding 1 more to the counter. Very quickly, within the first 20 seconds of the round, comes down to a 1v2, and it's VSA looking to clutch. He's being so loud, though. ANJ already has to know where he's at. VSA, he might actually just get caught jumping back inside. Tries to react. ANJ does fall back pretty quickly up the ladder so that his teammate can get away and so that he doesn't lose himself here. He does not want to give him the free 1v1 as Fugly only has 6 HP. So he's going to be very careful about this. ANJ's pretty smart in the way that he moves across the map. Just goes over the top side. ANJ links away inside of Secret. And now VSA is going to have to drop back down into the vents. Moves in, and Fugly, even with the 6 HP, quickly gets the headshot there. Closes out on at least one of these rounds for NRG.
Yeah, nice play by Fugly. Good positioning with the 7 HP, and he answers back with his own 3K. It looks like a pause coming in from Rise, if I had to guess.
Probably, yeah.
They got decent money, but
they should be able to buy. 86.50 should be easily 1 or 2 drops there.
they lose this, they're on a hard reset. Well, not quite, but 2 loss bonus.
I'd be very surprised if they saved here. There's not really any reason why they would go for
they're definitely gonna buy something. I just don't know how.
They're probably trying this whole pause just to do the math to figure out who has to drop for whom.
I mean, it's good though. I feel like we should have saw more pauses today. This is like only like the 3rd or 4th pause that we've seen. So.
Well, a lot of these matches have been really back and forth. So I feel like
they have.
I feel like teams like, no, we're good, we're still winning rounds. But it's like, yeah, but you're down by like 6 rounds and they're at 14. So.
Team speak single leg there.
Oh yeah, so that might be me.
Anyway. Yeah, you sound like a robot.
Hopefully it fixes itself in like 2 minutes.
Alright.
Well, getting back into the round now. Taking a look on if NRG is going to be able to pull out this comeback and bring it back up to 15-15. Ace with the scout, but everyone else able to get themselves an M4. And we've seen Ace work with this before and has been pretty confident with it too. So hopefully he's going to be able to hold stuff off. But the combat getting started very quickly as NRG wastes no time trying to push inside. It doesn't work out though. Ace even clips off Cirque outside. Just ANJ. Doesn't get anything done, and there you have it. Rise close out on the first map. They'll take their map pick against NRG here, and they'll get to start off with a 1-0 advantage in this series. 1 more, and they'll get to move on to take on either Tempo Storm or CLG, pending the result of their match, of course.
Yeah, that was closer than I thought. NRG put up a good fight. They looked like they had nades, and they practiced the map, so it's good.
All right, guys, so with that said, we are going to take a short break. The second map should be coming up in just a few minutes, so stick around here for more from the closed North American qualifiers for ESL One New York 2017.